Example 10. The sum of the first 15 terms of an arithmetic sequence is 345. If A15 is 65, find A1 and D. All right, so we are dealing with an arithmetic sequence. We don't know much about this sequence other than if you add up the first 15 terms, you're going to get 345. And we know specifically that the 15th term is 65. So not a whole lot to go on. Since we're summing an arithmetic sequence here, I'm going to turn back to our formulas that we've learned for summing an arithmetic sequence, the first n terms. We do have a choice between the two formulas, so the question becomes, which one should we use? Okay, well, remember, we are trying to find both A1 and D. Okay, so if we use the second formula here, we have two unknowns. Okay, we don't know A1 and we don't know D. So since we have more than one unknown, it's going to be difficult to use this particular formula. So let's try to use the first formula and see where that takes us. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write the first formula down. So the sum of the first n many terms is going to be n divided by 2 times the first term plus the last term. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. We know stuff about the 15th term. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in n equals 15 here. Okay, so everywhere you see an n, put a 15. So this tells us to calculate the 15th partial sum, or the sum of the first 15 terms. That's going to be 15 divided by 2 times a1 plus a15. Okay, so here is a1. We're looking for it. But what's great is that we have information about S15. Okay, we know what that value is. It says the sum of the first 15 terms is 345. So what we get out of that statement is that S15 is equal to 345. Okay, that's what the 345 is referring to. Okay, the other thing we know, so let me highlight this. The other thing we know is the value of A15. Okay, A15 is 65. Okay, so we can plug all this stuff in. Okay, so S15 is 345. That's got to equal 15 divided by 2 times A1, that's what we're looking for, plus A15, which is 65. This leaves us with an equation that has just A1 as the unknown. We're going to be able to solve for it. Okay. All right, so let's get A1 by itself. This is going to be 345 is equal to 15 halves is 7.5. All right, so I am going to start by dividing both sides by 7.5. Okay, so let's see where this brings us. 345 divided by 7.5 gives us 46. Okay, so we're going to get 46 is equal to A1 plus 65. Subtract 65 from both sides. That gives us A1. All right, A1 is going to be 46 minus 65. Okay, so the first term in this sequence is going to be negative 19. Okay, so there's your A1 value. All right, and then now that we have it, how do we go about getting D? Okay, well, we know the 15th term and we know the first term. There's a few options we can use. We can use the slope formula. That's our alternate formula for calculating the D value. Okay, we could go back and use the second formula here. Okay, because now we know A1 and we know the N value. We could do that. So there are definitely some options here. Okay, I'll go ahead and use the second formula. Okay, so I'm going to come up here. Okay, I'll put it in a different color. All right, we know that the second formula is Sn is equal to n divided by 2 times A1 plus n minus 1 times D. Okay, so here we're going to be looking for our D value. Okay, we know everything else. Okay, so if we plug into this, we know that the sum of the first 15 terms is equal to 15 divided by 2 times a1 plus 15 minus 1 times the d value that we're looking for. Okay, so here we know that S15 is 345. Okay, that's 7.5 times 2 times a1, which is negative 19, plus 14d. Okay, that leaves us with an equation that just has the unknown value of d. We're going to be able to solve for it. Okay, so I will continue up here. 345 is equal to 7.5 times negative 38 plus 14d. Okay, we're going to divide off the 7.5. Okay, we've done that previously. I think we did that on the calculator already. If we do 345 divided by 7.5, that's going to give us the 46. Okay, that's got to equal negative 38 plus 14d. Add 38 to both sides. We're going to get 46 plus 38. That's 84. Okay, so 84 is 14 times d. Divide both sides by 14. And so we will get that the value of d is 6. Okay, and that's the answer here. Okay, so you've got your first value here, you've got your d value here, and we are done.